A cold silence settled over rural Nova Scotia as volunteers launched what they knew might be their last major search before winter locked the ground. There was no time left to waste. If snow arrived, months of potential evidence could vanish beneath it. Before we go further, hit the subscribe button and turn on your bell so you don't miss updates on this case or others like it. This is a story of the final pre-winter push to find Jack and Lily. Volunteers from across the region stepped forward with a sense of urgency that felt heavier than any previous effort. They'd searched these lands before, but this time the approach was sharper, more disciplined, guided by the non-profit Please Bring Me Home. The organization brought structure that transformed scattered concern into coordinated action, mapping search zones, assigning teams, and preparing strategies that attempted to reach areas overlooked or unreachable during early efforts. For many of these volunteers, taking part wasn't just a matter of helping. It was a refusal to accept that 2 children could vanish without the community exhausting every option. The teams focused on places that had always carried possibility: thick woods, narrow waterways, an old trail that twists behind farms and rural lots. Some of these areas were accessible for the first time now that the brush had died back, revealing entry points hidden all summer. Others were rechecked not because suspicion increased, but because no solid lead had emerged from anywhere else. When hope is thin, thoroughness becomes the only strategy. One of the motivations for returning to specific zones came from earlier drone flights that detected heat signatures during the warmer months. Most of those signatures were likely wildlife, but volunteers knew possibilities, however remote, couldn't be ignored. Now that the vegetation had thinned, they followed the GPS coordinates on foot, eliminating those locations one by one. Nothing directly connected to Jack or Lily's surface in those thermal zones, but clearing them was necessary to tighten the search map. As the sweep continued, volunteers did find several items that stirred attention: a burned t-shirt near a small firing, a rusted child's bicycle, an old blanket, and a weathered geocache kit. These discoveries didn't point to a clear answer, but they were gathered carefully, photographed, bagged, and sent to the RCMP. The geocache slip caused the most concern, not because of what it was, but because it carried the stepfather's name from a previous visit by hobbyists long before the children disappeared. It was likely coincidence, but in an emotionally heavy case, even coincidences feel sharp. When police reviewed the items, they concluded that none were immediately relevant to the disappearance. There were no matches to known belongings, no signs of foul play, and no reason to shift the focus of the investigation. This was disappointing to some volunteers, but the findings also eliminated another set of unnecessary questions, tightening the path forward. Still, the search wasn't without complications. Rural Nova Scotia is woven with private properties, and not everyone agreed to let volunteers pass through. Some feared liability, others valued privacy, and a few simply didn't want search teams crossing their land. Safety concerns also restricted movement. Hidden wells, steep creek banks, and thick vegetation can turn a simple walk into a dangerous situation. These barriers left unavoidable gaps, reminding everyone that determination alone doesn't erase limitations. Even as winter approaches, volunteers aren't stopping. Plans for targeted cadaver dog searches are already in motion, focusing on specific zones where scent detection dogs could succeed despite colder weather. These searches won't cover as much ground as a full sweep, but they can reveal what human searchers might overlook. Through every setback, one thing remains unchanged: the community's resolve. People continue to share updates, attend meetings, and keep Jack and Lily's names alive. Their disappearance has become a collective weight, but also a collective promise that this story will not fade, and these children will not be forgotten, no matter how long it takes or how cold the season gets.